I'm currently 61 years old, physician, who was found with a malignancy of one of my breasts about 4 years ago, and treated at that time conventionally with surgery and chemotherapy. And then I had a few years of just normal life until last September. So in other words, about 8 months ago, when I was found with extension or dissemination of my condition of the cancer in my whole body, or approximately in my whole body. So that was they were bad news for me, because I didn't expect that to happen. Okay, given the fact that my cancer was found in a very early stage 4 years ago and treated more than appropriately at that time. So a few months ago I was facing with this terrible news, and of course I was overwhelmed by those. And my oncologist advised me to follow with the traditional treatment, which is basically, as you know, consistent of chemotherapy, radiation, surgery if needed, or one of the three or all three together. So after a little while I decided to go on chemotherapy as he recommended, as the only tool that I probably was able to be given at that time. My disease being in stage 4, in other words, considered terminal. So I began the treatment one single chemotherapy drug, because even the treatment is usually done with several chemotherapy medications. I was not able to, not to tolerate others, but I was not responding to the others based on some testing that they did previously. So I had to do the treatment one single chemotherapy drug, which is definitely insufficient, but they tried it anyway. So I decided to go for it, but at the same time I happened to find out about this clinic, Nova Vita clinic. The first contact, actually, I found out about the clinic through a newspaper, which was actually a Romanian publication. And I began to search within the context of the article, and talking to several people that actually went through the clinic, you know, in different stages of their disease. I contacted them by email and by phone. So I talked to them a little bit, so I knew what was happening. And then I got some information about the, you know, cost of the treatment and other things like this were very practical. And if I could have some treatment from far away, because at that time I wasn't in the States, so I couldn't come to Belgrade to get the treatment and so on. So I was treated kind of with like a maintenance therapy, okay, from afar. And in making contact with them and telling them my history and, you know, a brief situation of my case, they advised me to also take some of one of the products in the same time as I was doing chemotherapy. What's interesting in that is that during my chemotherapy I had several complications from my condition, from my disease, secondary to a liver biopsy, which actually brought me to being almost dead. You know, I was in intensive care unit for about 10 days with big hemorrhage in my belly and a condition of the lung which was very difficult to treat. That was within the time when the chemotherapy was supposed to be done. So the chemotherapy was stopped, okay, for at least 2 weeks or 3 weeks, basically. So I was not having a continuation of the chemotherapy as it's supposed to be, and my physician at the time said, oh, you're going to be on this therapy for at least 6 months in your case, or maybe longer than that. So even given this this interruption of my chemotherapy, 3 months down the road, you know, since January until April or the end of April, when they did my second scanner, a PET scan, compared to the one done in January, which shown in January when they showed the full blow of my disease. Now 3 months down the road, even with the chemotherapy, which just was interrupted, as I told you, while being on this product, one single product from Nova Vita, my PET scan, the scan was found basically normal. So there were found no metastases in the body, nothing in the bone, nothing in the liver, nothing in the lung, where they actually were before. So they said, well, you have to stop. There's no need for taking more chemotherapy. So you, from our knowledge, you basically not cured. Let's not use this word, but definitely a total remission. So whatever you've done besides our chemotherapy, which was just a minute help, continue to do it, because we don't know what it is. It's just a kind of a miracle. So that's, in short, my story.